Hello. I thought it's time we talked a bit about parental well-being. Self-care and mindfulness are very essential skills to skillful parenting. We all need to do what it takes to expand our own window of tolerance and improve our emotional regulation skills so we can patiently, consistently, and compassionately show up for our kids. Our behaviours and reactions are their core teacher. A hard-hitting fact at times, but an unavoidable one. We all need the calming and joy-bringing strategies we can get in order to parent effectively. Research has shown that when parents relate to kids with mindfulness, they activate the part of the child's brain, this medial prefrontal cortex, that allows kids to act more rationally. This is further confirmation that we must demonstrate the behaviour we want to cultivate in our kids. And this in turn means we need to take excellent care of ourselves. If we don't give ourselves appropriate rest and recuperation and reach out for help when we need it, we naturally go into energy deficit and we are less able to make effective decisions and provide support we desire to give to our kids. Unfortunately, this cycle is self-perpetuating. The less we nurture our well-being, the less capable we are of caring for our kids, and the lack of care our children are receiving causes their behavioural problems and makes our lives even more stressful. The new problems caused by our lack of self-care give us even less time or ability to focus on our well-being, and so the cycle continues. How horrible! We all know the feeling, I think we all do, of putting our needs on the back burner in an effort to do our best for our children. If it's occasionally done, it can constitute a healthy choice for us all. But if in the moments when we make such sacrifices, it must be done with great awareness and care, as neglecting our needs can quickly become habitual. It's all too easy to neglect our own physical, mental, and emotional well-being when our to-do list seems insurmountable. The irony, of course, is that so long as we neglect those essentials, we become exponentially less effective at achieving our own many tasks. We have ample data-based evidence, as well as personal experience, to demonstrate that stress can significantly impact on our attention and our concentration abilities, decision-making skills, capacity to maintain our relationships, and general well-being. And yet, it can still be so hard for us to practice basic self-care. Think back to that airline safety video. Always fit your own oxygen mask before helping your kids. We know that this is a logical safety measure put in place for the well-being of both our dependents and ourselves, yet we rarely apply the same logic to our everyday lives. We can't expect to be effective parents and be able to assist others if we don't help ourselves first. Simply put, it's just not possible to compassionately, mindfully, and successfully raise kids without a committed self-care practice. I know self-care has become such a buzzword in recent times that its meaning has been somewhat diminished. And so at this stage, maybe a definition's in order. To me, self-care is the ability to engage in self-reflective practice and pleasurable activities that promote physical and mental well-being. Now, that's not my definition, but it's one that I like. And by engaging in self-care practices, we seek to enhance self-awareness, self-regulation, and coping skills, as well as mindful awareness. So the explanation that I often hear from parents struggling to incorporate self-care practice into their lives is that taking time for themselves, maybe it's to go to yoga, to meditate, to lie down, to listen to an inspiring podcast, to get a massage, to eat well, to sleep, etc., makes them feel guilty, or they see it as self-indulgent. If this is your experience, then please write down some reminders and post on Post-it notes and stick them on your mirror, on your fridge, next to your bed, on the wardrobe. And basically, we need to be saying to ourselves, self-care is not selfish. It's a necessity. And I take care of myself so that I can take care of my children or take care of others. On a lighter yet equally important note, allowing ourselves the time to re-energize and to nourish our own needs increases our ability to enjoy our children's company, to be more receptive to their offerings of humour and curiosity and wonder, tenderness and enthusiasm. By Prioritising self-care and modelling this for our kids, we inspire healthy behaviours and self-compassion. And this can lead to a connection of mutual encouragement in which we each spur the other on in a quest for greater well-being and joy. If you practice self-care and yet feel like your child isn't learning from your example, keep in mind that this could be their way of rebelling, and if they're older, individuating from you. You can be sure that if you are consistently self-compassionate and self-nurturing, your child will internalise this and model their thoughts and behaviour accordingly. I promise it really does happen. Some of the simplest yet most overlooked examples of self-care include just eating regular and nutritious meals, getting enough sleep, showering, exercising and socialising. Unfortunately, all of these activities tend to become less of a priority as we enter parenthood. Just to have a shower when you're parenting an infant, a baby, is so hard. Imagine the parent who, while smoking a cigarette, turns to their child and says, "Don't smoke, it's bad for your health and can give you cancer." Not a very effective message, right? Likewise, telling our kids to look after themselves and value their health and well-being fails to hit home with them unless we implement this wisdom too. If we don't do this, then no matter what we say to our kids about self-care, our actions will teach them that it's okay to neglect their emotional and physical needs. Parents who regularly engage in self-care have been demonstrated to gain confidence in their parenting abilities and are able to make themselves more available to their kids. In a fairly recent study, it was done in 2017, and I know that's about 6 years ago now, but parents who engage in self-care practices reported increased tolerance as well as greater control over their emotions, allowing them to stay calm and not lose control when faced with challenging situations with their kids. We know that regular self-care leads to stronger, more trusting and loving parent-child relationships in which improved parental self-esteem correlates with the child's increased sense of self-worth. Are you convinced yet? All these essential experiences you wish for your child, you absolutely must provide for yourself. It's simple and as tricky as that. So I'm sure you know this, but there are so many ways you can practice self-care. So it might be practicing mindful meditation. It's just focusing your attention on the present moment in a non-judgmental manner to increase awareness and decrease emotional reactivity. For me, my self-care is walking my dogs, enjoying a cup of coffee with a friend, committing to regular movement practice. It might be yoga, martial arts, tai chi, Pilates, dance, whatever. For me, essential self-care is saying no to non-essential tasks and yes to fulfilling and rewarding activities, practicing self-reflection, for example, writing a thought journal or going for slow, thoughtful walks, engaging in a hobby. It might be knitting, crochet, learning an instrument, and setting and working towards an exciting goal. Setting regular time alone, making time for quality connection with your partner. My husband and I try to have a date night every few weeks. Spend time with friends and connect with your wider community. Commit to regular exercise or even team sports and engage in spiritual practices. Might be attending a place of worship or self-devised forms of spiritual practice, such as creating nature altars in celebration of a season. I don't know, whatever resonates for you. But also seeking support from therapy, parenting support, accessing online courses, finding information is really, really helpful when we're parenting. Self-care is really individual in nature, and while a strategy might work well for one, it may not for another. The process of discovering what activities fulfill your needs is deeply personal, and we mustn't expect our partner to follow suit. Just because you like walking the dog doesn't mean your partner might. One of the most rewarding paybacks of self-nurturance is that it reconnects us with something our kids are often much better acquainted with than we are. Fun. Fun. When you feel like there's no time for the tasks of self-care, you can just feel plain resistant to it. Remember how much fun you'll have if your tank is full. Fun is infectious and your kids will inevitably catch the bug, creating positive feedback loops. So for this reason alone, it's worth the effort. Have fun. Talk to you soon.